You're a liar just like Fidel Adams, and you don't even pity yourself. Advocate Sello cornered Andrea Johnson at the Madlanga Commission the moment she tried to lie. Andrea Johnson has exhausted all her options. At this point, she's trying everything to avoid jail. She was released from her duties with immediate effect following her resignation, so I understand why she's panicking. It was a massive disgrace because she denied everything at the Madlanga Commission. At a certain point, Advocate Sello got angry, and that was when the grilling started. It was as if war had been declared. Dear viewers, welcome to today's podcast. If you love how Advocate Sello handled the whole matter, please hit that like button and share this video with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Type in the comments section, Viva Advocate Sello. Let's celebrate her courage. Jabulani, roll the clip.
This morning we did a recap about, on what the supplementary affidavits informed IDEC. And the last supplementary affidavit, as commissioned by investigator Rapesu, is the one at file 93493. We can put away file 3 for now, Chair. Thank you. When we touched on paragraph 3, wherein Mr. Adams indicates that amongst the information he had received in October 24, it was alleged that Secret Service funds were used to purchase resources for PKTT, and that this team was previously led by Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Kumalo, who has close ties with the former minister, and that it is alleged that the resources procured under the ban of the task team were for the benefit of Mr. B.H. Sello and others. Now, when we dealt with this supplementary affidavit, and I pointed out that complaints concerning the PKTT don't form part of the Section 27 affidavit, and we discussed the possibility of there being perhaps another Section 27 that specifically references the PKTT. You, if I understood you correctly, you advised that you were not aware of any investigation into the PKTT.
Correct.
Did I understand you correctly?
Correct.
And you did not say, but the conclusion I drew is that for the first time yesterday at this commission, you found out that actually there had been an investigation of some kind into the affairs of the PKTT.
That there is an allegation in a supplementary.
There's that is more precise, you're quite correct. There's an allegation in the supplementary which supports a call for an investigation, because it's supplementing the very Section 27.
That is correct.
And you learned of that yesterday. I would like to turn our attention to, still staying with file 9, CJC 392.2, that should be at page 3362. No, that's at 3361, Chair. Same file 9 where we see the supplementary.
3361.
3361, yes. In fact, let's start at 3360. This is at 3360, it's a letter you wrote addressed to the National Commissioner. And it reads, this office refers to the information previously requested in terms of Section 28 of the NPA Act, to which your office complied. And then at paragraph 3, you indicate attached here to is a Section 28 subpoena requesting further information. And that subpoena starts at 3361. You see that?
I see that.
And that subpoena has got a date stamp of the 3rd of April, 2025. And if you look at 3362, it has, under the heading details of the matter or other information, and I quote, this investigation pertains to unlawful promotion, appointment of personnel within the Division Crime Intelligence of the South African Police Service. Where does that matter come from? Because paragraph 5 of Mr. Adams's affidavit complains specifically about the promotion, not even the promotion, the appointment of General Kumalo as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence. How do we land where the subpoena now implies that there's a full-blown investigation into promotions, appointments of personnel within crime intelligence? Appointment was by deviation. The complaint was that the appointment, original complaint, was that the appointment was effected without an interview process. Do you recall?
I cannot recall, but I would have been given this information by the investigators because they ordinarily brought these subpoenas.
Okay.
Just for information, is this
Sorry, Chair.
is this a concept that exists in the context of appointments? I know of the concept, for example, in the context of procurement, where instead of going through the usual routes, like inviting quotations and the final one being an open public tender system. But something that would ordinarily fall under the latter or this last category may be done through what is called a deviation. For example, if services are required urgently. So you talk about deviation. Do you ever talk about deviation in the context of employment? I'm not saying you don't.
No.
I just need you to edify me. Yeah.
If I can explain it in the NPA context, as I understand it there, and it relates then to government as a whole. Ordinarily, posts must be advertised with all the bells and whistles that go with it in terms of format, forum, how long it lays, all of that. When you find that you may not, after the entire process of applicants and the sifting thereof, you find that there aren't sufficient suitable candidates, it's one of two things. You re-advertise, which in itself is again a costly exercise, or you ask for a deviation of the process. And you're allowed to ask for a deviation of the process through your department and through Treasury, which allows for, and you'll forgive me, but for the loosely worded head-hunting exercise, where you would then be able to identify somebody that is suitable for that position. It is in that context, Chair, that the word deviation is used within the recruitment framework.
So it is something, it's a concept that does exist.
It does exist.
Thank you.
Because you need approval for it. It's
Thank
out
you.
of the ordinary.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because once faced with that, you would have to answer, Advocate, why in the face of that controversy, you did not focus your mind on this, because you appear not to have done so. So with the concrete information in my hand, I want to revisit this question with Advocate Johnson.
We shall do so, Chair. If I understand, then the instruction is that we do sort of a press scan and to see what was publicly available and out there.
Please.
On the matter. We shall do
Thank
so.
you very much.
We shall oblige.
Thank you.
Advocate Johnson, based on the responses you have provided, in particular...
Just a minute, and I hope and pray Advocate Johnson will not say, that appears in this, in items from this media house. No, I don't read that. No, I don't watch those TV channels, and so I just hope and pray that won't be your escape route.
No, and
Thank
please
you.
don't put me at war with any of the media houses. I read media.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I go back to the response I think you gave to Commissioner Baloyi, wherein you attempted to shift the responsibility of the contents of the Section 28 to the investigators. And my challenge is, Colonel Padiachi indicated that he conducted a full-blown investigation into the Mokwele appointment in circumstances where he had not even seen the Section 27 referral. You, on the other hand, had seen this Section 27 referral. You made a decision on it, and you determined that a Section 2813 preliminary preparatory investigation be initiated. So between the two of you, you being the ID and the investigator, clearly you have more knowledge as to what the original referral was about. And it's your responsibility, I dare say, to ensure that should either malice, improper conduct, or simple human error find reflection in the Section 28 summons, that the institution has to depend on you to determine that those errors and issues of malice are dealt with and taken out of the summons. For the simple reason that if not for your signature, certain things won't be done. If not for your signature, there will not be a basis to demand from the National Commissioner, as the summons do, that all appointments of PKTT members be conducted. So I have a difficulty in your answer, the effect of which would suggest you are the least powerful person in the institution, when in the converse, you are the most powerful person. Alternatively, it suggests that you don't bother to read what your investigators tell you and ask of you. Having put forward the very two propositions, I personally reject them. And my proposition is you knew exactly what was happening when that item 6 was included and for what purpose. You were not blindsided by that. You knew. And I support Commissioner Baloyi's question. What were you trying to achieve by the inclusion of item 6, investigating the PKTT?
Chair, as I indicated, I was not aware of an investigation into the PKTT. I've made sure I've checked with those who are the custodians of the documents that if I missed something, the project manager would at the very least have been able to refresh my mind and indicate, ID, we actually do have an investigation and this is what it is. And it is not to absolve me of anything. It was to find out then, how did this come about? What was put to me in order for me to have authorized it? Hence my phone call to Mr. Peramal. I seek not to absolve myself, chairs and council. I wanted clarity because I independently cannot recollect what the questions and the conversation would have been around that specific point.
Advocate Sello,
Yes.
please help me. The documents 3373
3373.
all the way to 3383. Did you get them from IDEC? How did they land in this file? Because these are performance assessments of PKTT, not employment issues, just general performance. Some of these documents we would have seen before investigation and prosecution of politically related cases from 2018 to 2022. The information notes relating to PKTT. If IDEC was not investigating PKTT, where do these documents come from?
The pages that Commissioner Khumalo has just referred me to are part of CJC 392.2. For the record, the documents marked CJC 392, the entire 392, with all its sub-exhibits, was obtained from IDEC pursuant to either a subpoena or a written request from us. What we, as the commission, added to that file 9 is CJC 394.
So, Advocate Johnson, it cannot be correct then to say IDEC was not investigating PKTT, because if you take it from 3373 all the way to 3383, those are all PKTT documents. And IDEC can only obtain these documents if IDEC is conducting an investigation into the PKTT. That must follow.
Yes, and that must follow then from that item 6. I would assume that was on the subpoena.
So whoever told you that IDEC was not investigating the PKTT cannot be correct, because the performance report, this is not even employment-related issues. The information here is how many cases PKTT is dealing with, how many are under investigation, how many are in court, how many are withdrawn, how many are finalized, how many suspects are in custody, how many are convicted, how many are on bail. I'm on 3377. So all that information relates to the activities of the PKTT as a unit.
That is correct, Commissioner Kumalo, and then it conflicts in any event with what is asked in point 6 of the summons.
Advocate Johnson, you could not possibly have signed the summons that we are discussing without having gone through it line by line, sentence by sentence. Am I correct?
Correct, Chair.
Now, if that be the case, especially regard being head to the fact that you say IDEC was not investigating the PKTT, on what basis, having read paragraph 6 of this, of Annexure B, on what basis would we have authorized paragraph 6 of this document? And the answer, let me upfront say, cannot lie in whatever briefing you may have been given. It cannot lie there. So on what basis would we have authorized paragraph 6 of the summons?